My name is Alan.
And I'm Albert,
We are your co-host, and this is Viceroy.
a co-GM actual play podcast using the Genesis RPG system by Fantasy Flight Games.
So that means we both have our own characters, and we both have influence in the world and the encounters we find ourselves in.
This is an experiment on our part, and the first sessions reflect that. For example, the audio quality for this first episode is not the best. It gets better next time. Some of the pronunciations change as we get used to the characters and the world around us.
There's some conversational swearing. If you're uncomfortable with that, then this may not be the podcast for you. We apologize.
It will start with us discussing our characters.
And lastly, Batista was not available for this recording. I guess first off, let's introduce our characters.
Right, so my character is Vint Keintel. He is sort of your scoundrelly type. He's decent at a lot of things, but not great in many. He has a history working within a security firm as an intelligence officer, and then he quickly found out that he had magical powers and the ability to be a Shadowjack, after which he got in contact with Grimson Concord and joined the larger resistance. After that had concluded and the resistance more or less lost, he was informed that he had to lay low, and so he founded a private investigation firm with someone he had met along the way and
Which is me.
Another business partner.
Yeah, which we'll get around to.
We'll get around to that.
Yeah, and my character I will be playing is Denton Faison. He is a ex-military human that is unique in the fact that he was made in a test tube. And he's a bit slower maintenance, but for all intents and purposes, he has the social and intellectual and physical properties of a human. He's just slightly more inclined towards military and stuff like that. He used to be essentially like a border patrol officer. Fantasy border patrol officer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he dealt with a lot more risky stuff, and his job was essentially get in that mech, walk around, and stop these abominations from getting into the city. It's essentially what his job was. For the most part, it was just sitting outside, but other parts it was stopping a war. But before the surge happened, he was discharged, and he wanted a civilian life, so he was able to get out. And while he was doing that, he found out he had some magical powers. But unlike you, he didn't use it. He repressed it, like, hard. And he wasn't part of no resistance. He just was like, I want to live my own normal life with normal things. He was working as essentially just a cop. Mm-hmm. He was working as a cop in the same firm that you were in, and it wasn't until he witnessed firsthand the massacres and stuff that were happening that he was like, I'm on the wrong side, I need to do something about this. And then he also was eventually reached out to by the Grimson Conflict. They were able to bring him into the fold, and after the war ended, after we lost the war, Denton was like, well, what now? And we were just working day to day, and eventually they were like, all right, new plan. You need to get out, and we need to start rebuilding, so you need to build some sort of infrastructure to help support us. And then that's when we met Oliver Wendell, one of our friends, who was our contact with the Grimson Conclave, and he set us up together and introduced us to Cassandra, with his words being, you can trust her. And upon our own digging, we both have our differing opinions of how much we trust her.
She has a lot of money, and I don't understand where it comes from. We don't actually make money, yet she has a lot of money.
And the fun thing about this is, as a DM, I legitimately don't know where this money comes from. And do you know where it comes from?
No, neither of us have thought of this that much.
But it's so amazing because you can decide what happens, and then I can decide what happens, and just based off of how we roleplay it, either one can be true. Yeah. This is why it's amazing. So yeah, we entered in this business arrangement, and we got to know each other, and our characters have known each other for about a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
I don't know what we named. Did we ever decide on a name for it?
We didn't think of a name.
Fuck! I think we should do this. We get there, we have the stuff, and She filed the paperwork. She hasn't even told us yet.
It's been a year. She hasn't even told us the name.
No. We met a year ago and we started the groundwork of like, setting up to leave. But it wasn't until like a month ago that we actually quit our jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is like still the early phase.
Right, because we haven't even finished moving in yet.
I think we moved in like boxes.
Yeah, like the couch in the lobby still has that plastic wrapping over it.
Exactly. But we're set up above a
It was a dry cleaner.
Dry cleaners. We were set up above a dry cleaners, and like the door.
Oh, that couch would have been a pain. That staircase was not very. That staircase is really narrow.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things where like the back end comes out. You know what I mean? Like where you lean back, like the back of the chair comes out and then comes out in like two pieces. Those exist. I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. So you described Cassandra because she was your brainchild.
Oh right. So she is pretty average, pretty slim. She wears these sunglasses, even though like it's an underground city and it's not terribly bright. But she wears these sunglasses a lot.
Actually, we're in Sagan. Like, you see how like underneath the dome there's like a bowl that's 4 miles deep.
Yeah.
So like Sagan has a good portion of it. We're essentially under the city, but we have this section that is exposed to the surface. So we have light that filters through.
Yeah, but
it's super dim.
Yeah, like you shouldn't need sunglasses.
Yeah.
But she wears sunglasses. We stuck with her because she is professional. We just need someone to run the business and to be an actual public face.
Yeah, and she's quote unquote trustworthy.
Yes. She's trustworthy.
Alright, so I think we'll start the scene. The camera comes in over a vessel. You can see the dome, and it's a massive dome. It looks deceptively small in the shot, but as you watch, a transport vehicle goes across the screen, and it heads toward the city. And it's going really fast. Like, it wasn't just like a zoom past, it was like a fly by the screen. And as it goes away in the distance, it reveals how massive this thing is. And then it goes to another cut where, like, it's part of the dome that you thought was, like, gradual, but it's like a steep wall, and it docks. From there, it transitions to like a couple of shots of like city life, and you see neon signs, and most of the light was there is like this weird like yellow brown tinted, just dirty looking light that comes down to the city through the hazy atmosphere. And then it filters through the dome, and then when you look in, it has an inside shot of the dome, and on the inside the light's bright, like a white bright light in the center of this dome, and there's these massive support structures that are a 1/4 mile across, and there's a lot of them that come down, and they support this massive dome of about 2 miles high and 15 by 14 miles across. Like, this dome is massive. And in these structures, you can see small little windows that, like, you think to yourself, holy shit, are those buildings? And, like, this massive bowl-shaped structure, and there's skyscrapers at the bottom of it. And any viewer's mind just reels at the scale of this thing. And then on the bottom of the screen it says vessel, year 541. And then it opens up to us, and it has like a dingy door with like an old neon sign that used to say something like palm readings. but like my character's in the act of taking it down.
So the door at this point has been replaced by, I don't think there's like wooden doors here. It doesn't really seem like, but it's like this metal door, and there's a fogged window that has yet to have a label put on it.
Yeah.
But the door's been in place. They haven't gone around to putting the label up, and the camera goes through the fogged glass and up this really narrow staircase to the second floor.
Real quick, can I give a physical description of my character?
Sure.
So my character is wearing a regular type of coat that looks to be of some sort of organic in origin, like some type of leather. And it's not like a trench coat or anything. It's just like a coat with like the extra patches on the elbows. And he's taking this thing down, and he has like a wrench, and it goes bzzz, and he has dirty blonde hair, and he looks rather muscular, and he looks to be a middle-aged guy. He's showing a bit of gray on his side, and he's standing on this step stool, and he's average height. He's not too big of a guy. The camera zooms through the glass, and then it goes up this small stairwell.
Yeah, so there's a desk. there's no one at the desk right now, and there's a couch that still has the plastic wrapping over it.
Yeah.
And kind of turns the corner to the right into a hallway. And there's 2 doors on either side. And on the right-hand door is the actual office that Vint works out of. And it goes in, he's hanging up his jacket. There's like this big black trench coat, and he's hanging it up. And underneath it, he's wearing like these black slacks and like a white t-shirt. He's average height, very average build. It's very clear that he's deliberately chosen his appearance so that he can blend in as much as possible within a crowd. And so his hair is like this brown, but it's really closely buzzed. It's not quite like a military buzz cut, but it's really close. And he has like these blue eyes, but he's a very average build. And he currently has a device on his wrist that projects a screen basically like onto his hand, dimensions of like a tablet, and he's doing computer things.
Okay, and then I guess in comes Cassandra.
Okay.
Yeah, in comes Cassandra, and she's like coming in. You want to do a voice for her? Do you have a voice in mind for her?
I don't have a voice in mind.
All right, so you're doing computer work. Cassandra comes in. You knock at the door.
It's open.
Look, I know you don't really like me, but I got some paperwork for you to sign, and we need to get this done quickly.
Alright, fine. Just put it on the desk. I'll get to it.
Oh, just got a word from Oliver. He's going to be dropping by usual place later on this evening.
Okay, yeah.
It's really unusual. The next scheduled meeting wasn't supposed to be until next month. It's highly irregular.
I am aware.
She has this look of nervousness about her as she puts down this portfolio.
I just open it and just start signing things without looking at it. Like, I'm not reading anything. I'm just like, okay, there's a line here and a line here.
Yeah, and she does the little tabby things with like the post-it notes.
I'm just not looking at anything.
Alright then. Then at this point, Denson hears voice talking to someone else in the background. Then you get a notification. It's a notification from that Eclipse Phase network.
At this point, he changes his hand to a phone grip and it conforms to that size, and he looks at it.
Okay. Describe the heads-up display. Like, how does the Eclipse Phase network communicate with each other?
The device he has is basically this computer omni tool that, based on his position and the shape of his hand, it conforms to different screen sizes and form factors. But the screen itself automatically formats. There's a home bar. It's a knife. There's a home bar and a bunch of different things. But when he gets a message from Placebo, which is what the sort of Splint organization is called at this point, the icon of whoever is communicating with them just takes over the screen and starts reading out the message just like over top of everything else.
Yeah, in general, what it essentially says is it's like a rumor mill type of thing, a general notification board, and it says suspicious activity in Gown.
Okay, so based on the context of that message, the icon that shows up it's an eye shape that's been cut in half. So it's the top half of like an eye. And the pupil is shaded so that it looks sort of like a sunrise.
Cool. Alright, and then as it continues, it says internal conflict, rumors about Red Hellion activity.
It's been a while.
And your character understands the Red Hellions to have been a orcish military front that helped Eclipse Phase a long time ago, organizing a couple of strategic strikes. And eventually this organization evolved into what they call themselves... Yeah, I guess they would have become one of the founders of the Crimson Conclave.
Crimson Conclave now?
What?
I think you said it with C again.
Oh, Grimson.
Yep. Okay, so he receives that message and he changes the positions of his hands, and the projection of this computer changes to that of the laptop. It just starts doing a bunch of stuff.
But it does say Red Hellions, because... Yeah. It doesn't say Crimson Conclave, but you know them as eventually evolving into it, which is why it's confusing. You're like, what? Yeah. And so I'm doing that and still signing all these papers, so I'm just I hand it back to her. She had left the room because she was expecting you to take a while.
It's already done, and I'm just like...
And you go back to your computer?
I just go back to the computer.
And then we scene transition, and then Denton is just bringing in the sign. He says, there's a lot of boxes. Hey, where do you want those posters? And I'm, of course, referring to the posters that we had made that have a crude logo that we put together. And the poster is supposed to be like an ad campaign we're trying to do.
Just canvas a few nearby blocks. Now, don't worry about it. Can you hand these to Cassandra on your way back?
What? Oh, yeah, sure.
Thanks. And Vint is clearly distracted.
Okay. And then we scene transition away from, as I close the door behind me, it closes, and then there's like a change in lighting, but then we use that change in lighting to like transition into the next phase. So where do we meet Oliver Wendell?
Oh, so Oliver's the usual meeting place. I don't think it would be an alley, but it wouldn't necessarily be a public business. I think it's just sort of like it's an outside food court sort of thing, but it's just sort of one of the tables in the middle of this large crowd. It's just this court of just tables and people, and it's really crowded and really busy. And there's no actual like restaurants. There's just big ass vending machines. And it just gives you a pre-made meal, and you just take it and eat it like at this big collection of tables. But there's no restaurants. There's no people actually serving food. It's just this place you go to get food.
Okay, but there's a lot of tables and there's quite a bit of people here. Mini mall type shopping plaza, or is it?
No, it's just outside in the street.
So it's more of like a downtown type area, and this. And just
Sort of,
in
yeah.
general, unless we say so, the generic vibe should be like closed street, like downtown, really, all walking pedestrian area.
It's really claustrophobic.
It's very rare to have like
open space.
Yeah, open space with like vehicle roadways.
Actually, so it's not a courtyard. This is actually all funneled into like this alleyway. So it's this long alleyway, and there's all these machines. And
it's really... kind of like. It's kind of like that thing some buildings do where like it cuts out like half of the bottom floor, but it has like support pillars.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. And there's people bustling about us, and they're all wearing clothes that would remind someone of like futuristic type thing. They're wearing like, some of them wear flamboyant colors, but somehow, since most of them are wearing like darker clothing, those pinpricks of lights look just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's centered on us. We're sitting, but there's people walking by, and then it transitions, and we get the first look of Oliver. And Oliver is this older guy. He has like a curly, wavy hair that looks slightly orange in color. It looks like he dyes it, and it has a reddish tinge to it. But at the roots, it's like a darker blonde. And he has this scraggly beard. And he's a really portly fellow, and he has like hair on his forearms. He's sitting there, and he takes this nasty bite out of a big burger. Like, he's not very tactful, and he's just like, Thanks for coming out today. You guys want anything?
No, I'm really not hungry.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't mind something. All right, yeah, sure.
Still doing
he
stuff
like he like waves a hand, and like this little bot thing comes up, and like he kind of puts a thing in and takes out like a taco and gives it to Denton, and then Denton takes it, and then meanwhile you're growing more impatient, right?
Yeah, but I'm just not even paying attention the whole time. I'm just doing stuff on my phone.
While Denton eats his taco, so I don't need a voice actor. Oliver notices this, puts his burger down, and kind of pushes it a little bit away from him, signifying he's gonna talk now.
He just spreads his hand out, objection disappears.
It's suspicious.
You never seen a crowd? People on their phones all the time. I just have the phone dissipate.
I'm saying suspicious if we don't eat. That's what I'm saying.
Fine. And
the robot's still there.
Oh, the robot's still there? So the robot just is its own vending machine?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just sort of like, and just get a small platter of fries.
Okay. It does this thing where like it comes up and then it slides and it lifts up. Fries slowly slide off. No, it's not like it has its own little tray. But the point is that it goes.
It's still super unappetizing.
Yeah, it's like those frozen fries that it had just been like microwaved real quick. Like they're not crispy at all.
It's a little unusual you'd call us this early. What is it?
Look, there's a lot of happenings going on.
I'm aware.
I don't know how much you know about what's happening, but what's filtering down to me is that the Red Hellions are back. The OG Red Hellions. Not the faction that Eclipse Phase was organized with.
I find it a little hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. The problem is that all these rumors going around are all unverified. All of them. We don't know what's going on. And since you guys are actually set up to and ready to start this sort of work, I got a few people going around. Patricia's still doing her thing.
Patricia?
Roll a knowledge check.
Knowledge?
Yeah. Do knowledge, I guess it would be politics for us. I guess we can separate politics, right?
Sure.
Yeah, because the skill list I gave you was, we have knowledge, all arcane classes, so like knowledge primal, knowledge arcane, knowledge divine. Then we also have knowledge outlands, knowledge politics, knowledge theocracy, and knowledge, I guess now we're going to add in knowledge underworld.
Sure.
Yeah. Just a butt ton of
all advantages.
You have no idea.
Also, what's the difficulty?
Probably It would be hard, so 3.
Oh, so 1 failure,
And what's that?
2 advantages.
Okay, you don't know who Patricia is at all, but you can put together that when he was doing his thing, he was referring to you in a way that suggests she's also a Shadowjack.
Okay.
Yeah, like he's like her thing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's gesturing to you. Just there's so many moving parts and it happens so quickly.
You have any idea what may have caused them to start being active again?
There's a lot of things. Word is that there was some secret meeting going on. A lot of the people from the orc.
Immediately pop my phone out and start typing.
He stops for a second, and when he realizes you're still listening, he's like, a lot of people from the orc community were talking, and a lot of movement over the last week. I don't know.
Alright. Where should we start?
I don't know. Here, and he gives you this kind of a dossier. He hands it to Denson because he knows that Denson knows how to do military stuff. And Denson's like finishing, like halfway through his talk, and he's like letting you ask the questions because he's the muscle.
He hands it to Dent, and I'm just like, is it paper? Like, what's it?
We established paper does exist because you signed the paperwork. But this one is actually like I guess it would just be like a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mass-manufactured tablet that's really flimsy.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like probably the size of like cardstock.
Right.
But
it has that sort of like hard cardstock sort of
feel to it.
Like you move it back and forth and it makes that weird wobbly noise.
Alright,
I take it and just start.
Yeah, it's one of those, but they have electronic like fibers through it that essentially like a nook. Like that weird the weird screen nooks have.
Yeah.
Like it's not that they illuminate light, it changes the color of the paper. It's one of those, but you know that you can scroll and like move things around.
Yeah, so I'm just
you're annoyed. It's not easy to work with.
I have to just put it down onto the table and just use the table as a surface.
Yeah.
And I just start reading through it.
As you're skimming it, he goes back to eating his burger. It essentially has a list of who said what when, and it's more of like a ledger of information.
Okay.
It looks like it wasn't compiled by him. It was compiled by someone else, because this guy, he doesn't really do computers very well. And it has like pseudonyms for people, so it says like Jack, new information. Ventros from the Black Canary said such and such. It's all referring to like locations where they got information was coming from. But in general, there's like a list of about maybe 20 or so, and all of it's been tracked. But in that, 3 of them are highlighted. One of them is referring to a wanted ad, and it was released by the Blythe Corporation security firm. And it is asking for a reward for information for a specific orc that goes by the name of Karuts.
Karuts.
Yeah.
Do I recognize that?
No.
Okay.
Or you can try.
What's the difficulty?
It would probably be a hard, and since you're not an orc, you get a black die.
Sure. Nope. No. Definitely no.
I think you got an advantage though.
I have 2.
2. Okay. It sounds orcish.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay.
It narrows it down because you don't know a lot about the orc thing, but there's a significance to their names.
Right.
So you don't know it, but you know there's a significance to his name.
Okay.
Like,
so it's important.
Not necessarily. Yeah, you would think that he was important. It sounds like it's an orc name, but it's not that he's important. It's that his name has a cultural and language significance that you're not aware of because you don't speak Orcish or know Orcish. So you're just like, oh, well that's a possible avenue of pursuit. Yeah, and then it's asking for information about his whereabouts, and it's offering a reward for any verified information about him, starting at 1,000 credits, which is equivalent to, I guess, for us. Let's just make this easy. 1 to 1, yeah. Sure. So essentially, it's starting at 1,000 just for information.
Okay.
So that's pretty high up.
Also, Karuts.
Karuts.
Karuts. Okay.
Yeah. Karuzt. Oh, and it doesn't have his last name. It just has his first name.
So what was it? K
Aruzt.
UZT.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what's the other two messages that are highlighted?
The other two is one of them is actually a link to a news article, and the news article is it starts off with a line that says like security crackdown of drugs in downtown neighborhood, essentially. It uses a specific word, downtown, but you're not familiar with that section. It sounds
Downtown
like
neighborhood.
Yeah, and
Gown?
huh?
Downtown neighborhood of Gown, or
Yeah, and it's like the Gown Observer or whatever.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and it says, what would be the equivalent of a newspaper?
A blog?
I guess.
Twitter?
It's a reputable blog. Because for some reason, whenever I think of a blog, I'm just like, it's some random guy. No, but like it's a reputable source. And it has this article, and you skim it briefly, and essentially what it's saying is that there was a lockdown of an entire building. And when I say building, I mean like probably like a 30-story structure.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the 30-story structure. It was a lockdown, and the reason cited that was officially given was drug trafficking related activity. But one of the things that after you look at the link, you go back to the reference, and it says that, and it has like a pseudonym for someone. You don't know who it is, but you think that you probably track it down, and it's obvious that it's like it's a handle for someone online because it has like the O's and the Z's or something, some weird thing about it. And then that one, it says suspicious security activity noted, and then it has a couple of like quotes. It kind of like analyzing what actually happened.
Okay.
And it has like a weird breakdown, but it's not completed. It's more of like, this is definitely suspicious. I flagged it, and here are the reasons why. Yeah. And for the most part, it cites like, this freelancer doesn't actually exist, and like
So someone's annotated.
Someone's fabricated a story essentially.
Okay, and so someone else annotated it, pointing out the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
What's the handle?
I couldn't think of one on the spot, but it's probably something like Drazor or something.
Drazor Physio.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the third highlighted entry?
And then the third highlighted entry is actually a military dossier on one Ripjaw.
Do I recognize that?
You do not. Actually, he was actually really notable. I think we should both roll a knowledge check now. This one is definitely gonna be hard.
I feel like we should have a bonus dice for this. This one can't just history.
Yes.
Just take that.
Yes, you would.
So are you serious? I succeed.
Well, yeah.
Succeed with 2 disadvantages.
Okay.
2 threats.
You know for a fact that Ripjaw is a name that you heard way back in the day. You recognize the name instantaneously as being is someone that was a heavy hitter back in the day. You don't know what happened to him. All you knew is that like he was a heavy hitter. You don't know. Your character doesn't know the nuances of the relationship that the higher ups had with him.
Okay.
He recognized that he was a heavy hitter way back in the day.
Right.
He was a leader of the Red Hellions at one point, but sometime during the war, he just vanished. It's not like he vanished. It's more like you just didn't pay attention to what happened to him. You probably could do some more research and like spend some time digging into archives and stuff to figure it out. But as of right now, your character is like, he's important. I don't know what happened to him. It's kind of like, we all know who Dick Cheney is, but what's he doing now? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that, right?
Yeah.
You know he's important. It's just you don't know what happened to him, what he's doing, or like what he's up to now. Oh, and my character.
And I'm immediately, as soon as I finish that, I pass it back to him. I'm immediately just on
I'm gonna give myself a black die. Reasons cited: my character did not know. Well, he was in the military still.
Yeah, he would have been out of the loop.
Are you fucking serious?
You also succeeded.
2 successes and 2. No, one success,
and 2 threats.
2 threats. Oh man. Okay. Well, I guess my character does know who Ripjaw is. How would I know about him?
May have overheard conversations.
Yeah, I mean.
From Ben.
Yeah. Okay. I read about him.
Sure. It was in the news.
But what are my 2 disadvantages?
So yeah, you would have heard about him in the news, but like the only way that they would depict him is that he was an orc and that he was arrested at some point. He was the news that you would have read is that he was an orc who was leading like a big faction of the Crimson Conclave, and
He wasn't part of the Crimson Conclave. He was never part
right, but the news article would say that.
Oh, okay.
The news article says that, and that he was arrested after being caught.
I get it. Alright then, cool. Yeah, and that's the last one. And then highlighted on that is spotted in military checkpoint. And it has like a picture of him going through a checkpoint. But
Where's the military checkpoint?
Huh? The military checkpoint is a checkpoint that goes between Kalis and Gown. So Gown is it's one of the few regions of the city that's entirely underground. It's like really far down there.
Mm-hmm.
Relative to us, it would be about 2 miles underground.
Okay.
And like none of it is on the surface. And initially, what it actually, I think it requires a knowledge check for you to know more about it. But it's underground. We know where it is. It's just like a really bad, has a notorious reputation for being a really bad place for just infrastructure, and no respectable person will be caught there essentially. And then Kalis is above it, so he was caught going from Gown to Kalis. And he wasn't flagged by an official means, but someone who had access to it was able to find him, and it has an outline. And honestly, you looked at the data, and it was like a 30% match. Yeah, and all of these things are setting up red flags to you, and you're putting things together like, what the fuck is going on? Meanwhile, Denton's like looking over, and he's like, what's going on?
At this point, Vin like puts his hand on the table, and you briefly see like the screen is still off, and as it disappears, you just sort of
wait, that was Ripjaw. I know him. Wait,
yeah, I know him too.
What's going on?
What the hell is going on? I sort of look to what's his face?
Oliver?
I look to Oliver, just like, look, there's something that we need to know before getting into this. You should tell us now.
It swallows. and he says, look man, like I said, all unverified. I whittled it down to those 3, and if anything, those 3 are important. The rest, I don't know. Look, the Crimson Conclave has not been up to full strength for a very long time. And when I say very long, I mean it's been a shit show for more or less the last 2 years. We got these startups and these fanatics running our name through the shit. We got people blowing up fucking schools in our name. It's not going good. And our information network is not as trustworthy as it once was. We got people writing in on paper, mailing it to people. We also got people on web forums that are reporting muggings. So there's just too much to go through, and this is what I was able to get.
Alright, fine.
Look,
I'm gonna just go through all the things that aren't highlighted and just see if there's anything that's missed.
Roll a... What would this be?
Perception?
Yeah, it's roll a perception check.
Yeah. What's the difficulty?
It's not too hard. No. You're trying to notice a pattern that hasn't been noticed by anyone that looked at the data before.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who compiled this is someone who's really good.
So, what are you saying, hard?
Yes.
Okay. Nope.
Nope.
2 threats.
It just looks like a jumble. It does look like they took liberty to take out more outlandish ones.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these seem, some of them, like almost all of them seem it could happen. Like it's true in the sense of like none of them are fake. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Like all of them seem like legit sources to your eyes. And the point is that they're just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially combing through all of like an information network that has to do with Gown, and it's just like everything that happened there. There's things referencing like a politician that didn't come home for a night. There's another one referencing the fact that a bar owner suddenly bought a new fancy like vehicle and things like that. Like it's things that are suspicious, but and could be related, and some of them are like, you know, there's a couple new like people that are pushing this drug or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So like, there's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of these gears that could be related, but from what you can tell, Oliver's taken special interest in Ripjaw, that building, and this wanted person. And from what he tells you, he says that it's all unverified. But if anything, those people that I listed there would have been in the center of this shithole.
Okay, so what does it need us to do exactly?
I need you to track down these things and follow up on it. We would do it ourselves, but Patricia's been dealing with some stuff recently, and
okay, fine.
And we got our own problems, and right now we don't have the resources. Wait, what am I saying? You are the resources we have to deal with this.
Fine.
And it just came up, and from I don't know, I got this real bad feeling that this can get out of hand real quick.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Denton, while he was sitting there, he actually is going to do a perception check to around here. And I want to remind you real quick, you're able to implant stuff as well. Because remember, we're both DMing, but you're more than welcome to start doing all your shit.
Yeah, it's okay. What's our perception?
I got...
better than mine. We need another green dice.
Yeah. And I'm doing a perception check to make sure that we're not being seen or anything.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's definitely succeeded. So it's very clear that we aren't being watched, so to speak, but like, you keep an eye on everything, and like, you do notice that Vince's really on edge. He's been on his phone a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually on his device a lot, but like, more so right now. You usually see him.
But that's not really suspicious because we're in a high intense thing where we're verifying information. But one thing that I think that I would want to specifically look out for is people around us that are paying too much attention. Because we're in a public place. Yeah, we're like in a corner and like we're away from a majority of people. And it's already loud as fuck. So, but I'm trying to make sure that neighboring tables aren't like overhearing.
You do think you see a figure just sort of walk behind like a telephone booth? Not a telephone booth, that'd be really silly. Just like a kiosk, just some sort of kiosk.
Yeah.
If the figure walks past the kiosk and as it goes out of view behind it and doesn't come back to the side.
And this is like as the conversation's ending. Okay, cool. All right. Other than that, it looks like it feels like the conversation's just about done, right? All right. Well, so with that, after Oliver, he's finished his burger at this point. Your fries have like 2 fries missing.
I've not been eating that.
Well, Denton ate a fry.
Like it's just been sitting there.
All right. And rather than Denton knows to restrain himself to not bring up and talk about this in public, he just wanted to do the information exchange real quick. So he's like, all right, well, I'll just wait for the questions later. So at that point, we getting ready to leave?
I'm getting out.
All right. So we get up and
take the fries with me and just chuck it in the trash can.
And with that, we'll scene transition.
So I'm walking back and just chuck the whole thing in the trash can and it just zooms onto the trash can.
It does a shot of like the you throwing it into the trash and then it zooms in, but rather than the fries going in, it's something else in the next scene. So we're at this point we're in the office. We're going back to the office then?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the office. and he's just like laid out on the couch, which is still wrapped. The device on his wrist just keeps like making a ball and tosses it and it bounces and disappears.
Oh, that's nice.
And comes up again.
That's cool. So you just like rubber balling it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What has your character done in between scenes? So we don't have to roleplay this. Just tell me what your character did.
So at this point, he's been clearly like communicating with people like on his device. He's at this point he's talking with what's your character's name again?
Denton.
He's talking with Denton on just sort of thinking about what could be going on. Like why has Ripjaw, or at least someone who looks like Ripjaw, been seen in the city?
Okay. I think we should open up the scene with that.
Yeah.
So you're like Ripjaw, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know that. I don't even know what's up with Ripjaw. I mean, isn't he part of Grimson? Like.
Sort of. He was.
Shit. I mean, look, I know he's on the news.
He had something worked out with Eclipse Phase. I never really found out myself.
I don't know if my character knows about Eclipse Phase. I'm gonna roll a knowledge check. Okay.
He was pretty important and founded the Crimson Conclave, but he disappeared soon afterwards. No one really knew what happened to him.
Hold on. Eclipse Phase was super secret.
Yeah.
Is that like 2 blacks or?
I think 1 black, because you spent most of your time outside the city during that time.
No, but they're an information network that was super secret.
Yeah, sure.
And they kind of devolved a while ago.
Give you that.
All right, so this is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. It's a lot of threats, Brad. You've not heard of it.
Yeah, Eclipse.
Don't worry about it. I already said too much.
I don't even get the reference. Yeah. Oh, wait, he founded Grimson?
He played a part in it.
The fuck? Look, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but if you think that we need to go out some legwork, tell me what to do. I mean, I can look into this this guy, and then he goes over the thing and looks over it. Carruts.
I think that might be a good place to start. I don't really want to. Does the dossier mention who was running the military checkpoint?
That would be the. It doesn't. It probably does. You know what? You create it because there are numerous factions, and I only have a few mapped out, and it's a massive city, in so that there are different things that could exist. But it's going from Gown to Case. Odds are they would have some sort of like region security. Each quote unquote city works differently.
Alright, what's the industry in Kalis?
Kalis, I don't entirely know 100% because it's one of the newer ones I've made.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's reasonable to assume that it would do just like population stuff. It has a surface inside a vessel, so it's mainly a population center rather than an industry area. Gown was a sewage treatment plant, but then they tried putting suburbs there, but it didn't really work. Yeah, but Case is just like a population hub.
Mm-hmm. So it would have been Kalis Communities Incorporated.
Yeah.
Or just CCI.
Yeah, it would be the CCI.
And so it's literally just a firm that just plumps down apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Just owns a lot of realty.
The thing is that Case, it's not one of the militarized zones anymore. So, but Gown is.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we don't know what happened with Ripjaw, so we don't know why it wasn't flagged.
Okay. I think we should start with Carrettes then.
I don't really know anyone over in the Case community. Fuck. I don't even know what they're called anymore.
I mean, I think we have to go to Gown at the very least. Maybe this lockdown might have some clues.
What lockdown?
Those are. Wow.
Oh yeah, one with
the lockdown. I don't know if it really was locked.
Building in Gown.
Yeah, that building.
All right. Yeah.
Something tells me that's a cover for something. Might be a good place to start.
All right. Well, I'll do some legwork trying to get some information on this car rust.
Okay.
And at this point, after I look at the name again, I am going to roll in pop culture. No, what would it be to know about orc culture? Would it be a generic knowledge check?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we don't have a.
I mean, well.
I mean, I know it's a knowledge check, so I get 2 anyways. I think that it would be 3 because, in general, it's more nuanced and it's more nuanced than other languages. I guess.
Okay. Sure.
And also a black because I don't know orc culture.
Yeah. You got a black one there?
I don't know. I don't know if it should be average or if it should be hard. What do you think?
I think average sounds about right for this sort of thing.
All right then. And black because I don't know. I'm not too familiar with orc culture.
Nope. One threat.
One threat. Okay. I don't know anything. What is that threat?
I can't think of anything in particular.
All right. I think we'll just assume that I know something wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So I assume that it means that he a part of his name I attached to him a significance to.
Right.
Yeah. I'll think about that later on. All right. So, and I'm sitting, and the way we have our thing set up, it's like a typical buddy cop movie where we have like 2 desks that are like back to back, so our computers face opposite directions, and we're facing the same direction, right?
Sure.
No.
I mean, I kind of imagined that we were actually just in the lobby.
Oh.
And Cassandra's just like not in right now.
Okay, yeah. So you're sitting.
I've reclined on the couch that is still wrapped.
I thought you were gonna remove it. Okay. So just this uncomfortable, silent rustling as you throw just plastic sounds. I'm probably sitting at Cassandra's desk, but like she hasn't moved all of her stuff in yet. So like there's no computer set up, but she has like a couple of folders and stuff, and I'm just sitting there looking through it because you look through it, but I haven't. So my character's been going through and asking a few odd questions here and there, getting a bit more clarification about things. And I think I'm also gonna roll a perception check on the list.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you took it with us?
Well, he gave it to us.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
That's the point of that flimsy thing.
Right.
It's cheap, like it's cheap, so you can just hand it off.
Sure.
And it's essentially just like a paper.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's probably made out of some weird like plastic with like filament fibers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like woven in. Perception. What difficulty did I give you again?
You gave me hard.
Yeah, and it was a black die, or was it not?
I don't think it was a black dice.
I don't know anything about. Wait. Okay, yeah. So it wasn't a black die.
You succeed.
Ooh, a lot of threats.
Succeed with 2 threats.
Okay. So as I'm looking through it, I start noticing that all of this, there's about 2 more instances that are nearby that building that sound like they could be of interest. One of them is a robbing.
Okay.
And one of the notable facts about the robbing is that the security tapes are gone.
Okay.
And I say, hey, I think I got something. It's kind of suspicious. So this, what would it be? See, it's a building, and that building was like a industry building, right?
Yeah.
So it would a bank.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, hey, there's a bank here. I got robbed. Right. It's like right across the street. Yeah. It says here the security tapes are gone.
Strange. I think we can check that out. See if we can get a trace on whoever took it.
Yeah. All right then. Oh wait,
if it was done remotely, maybe we can find the source.
Maybe. And there's another one here, and then I point to it, and then this one is about how there is there's someone that was taken in. They were arrested. Yeah, they were arrested, and they were and their one call was to someone, and rather than and they contacted one of their informants, and they claimed to have said that they saw that there was a lot of gunshots that were heard. I mean, not really gunshots. Yeah, I guess there would be gunshots. Gunshots and gunfight that happened.
In the building that was locked down?
No, he doesn't say where. Oh. But it sounds really suspicious.
Okay.
And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I know this jurisdiction area. It's in the same area because Gown's broken down.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, same area.
Huh.
These are the only two that are even close to that building.
Okay, so
The rest are just scattered.
I think we should definitely check that building out. Check out that bank. See where those files went. What time is it at this point?
Time works weirdly. Depending on where you're at, because of the way the sun is, when the sun goes down, it's night for everyone. But during certain parts of the day starts different times because the sun rises in the east.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the west side of the city, it starts in the morning. But for other people, it doesn't start until later. The reason for this is that energy needs to be stable, and you can't have a large city like this run at peak and then low, peak then low. So the way they have it set up is certain areas and certain electric holders have peak hours. Yeah, they cycle. Okay. So it depends on where you're at, and they have like premiums for like if you're operating at peak. If you're like have a lot of electricity usage in certain parts of the day, you get fined. Yeah. Okay. So it depends on what.
Sure. But like for us, is this about the time that we would be going to bed?
No, it's probably not bed. Definitely winding down for the day. Okay. But as this is not our normal day, we probably would want to start pursuing it a lot faster.
Okay. Alright, so I think we can go and check that out now then.
Alright then. Did you have any specific things you wanted to do in terms of trying to figure out feelers for the other two leads that we got?
So what my character's done is he has a few contacts, and he sent out messages asking like people to identify Drazor, not Ripjaw. And he might have asked about Ripjaw too, but Ripjaw, what he would have gotten back is it's classified. You're not supposed to know about it, and you'd just be like, okay, fine. And Drazor, I don't know. It's kind of up to you. I don't really know what's going on with him.
So Drazor was someone who did the analysis of the news article.
Right.
And so as you go about doing that, you find a couple more posts, and you go through some like do you want to look at his stuff in depth, or do you just want to skim?
I'll just sort of like there's other articles similar, but he's annotated about.
He's essentially like the way the Grimson Conclave kind of works is that they have a sort of a darknet equivalent of like a message board system, but it's all done on like a shit ton of different websites so as to not coalesce everything in one spot. But he has a network, if you will, of like links to other stuff, because what he does isn't as secretive. It's more of like an analysis, so he doesn't hide it as much. So it's relatively easy to find the stuff he does. Mainly what he's been doing is he looks at articles and like he validates it, and he's like looks at it and he's like, this is super suspicious, this like information pathway of like chain of authority is totally bogus. But you kind of get this feeling that he's actually, you know what, roll a what would be a good check to do here?
Underworld?
Yeah,
Knowledge
Underworld.
What's the difficulty?
Probably average. Okay. Actually, does Knowledge Underworld use intelligence, right?
Yeah.
What does computer use? Intelligence too, right?
Also intelligence.
Yeah, so it's the same.
Well, I mean, if it's computers, I have proficiency.
Cool, yeah, add that.
Sure.
But it will be a knowledge check.
Yeah, that's 3 successes? Not 2. 2 successes.
Okay, so as you're looking at it, you start realizing that he reaches quite a bit in a lot of his analysis, but for the most part, some of his stuff, a few articles in particular, they're all associated with big busts and big like cover-ups that you know of personally. So you have a feeling that this guy is pretty on top of his game.
Okay.
And as you look more into it, he has an okay reputation.
Yeah, and I would have also asked around about Carrots.
Yeah. As you get that name,
if he's any sort of high profile, I would have just got that classified.
High profile in what regard?
Like if he is responsible for anything like particularly important, if he is leading any sort of like organization, but if he's just sort of like kind of just a lower level person who kind of got too public, then I would have gotten something. But as long as he's not like important to something, it would have gotten that he's classified.
Yeah, it probably does come back, but the people you ask, they're like, a lot of people have been asking for that name recently. Don't know anything about it though.
Oh, so people don't know.
People don't know about it, but what one person said was, man, a lot of people asking about that name, and then like someone like responds underneath that, yeah, didn't you hear? And he like links to the reward thing.
Right.
Yeah, and then like they start going back and forth, and then some people that are kind of putting you on flame, like, oh, you gotta stoop to our level and stuff like that. They're just kind of a bunch of trolls.
Just start handing out bans. Just like, you get one and you get one.
I mean, it's sarcastic and you can kind of get that. They're not being serious. They're just
timeouts.
Yeah.
Like just 1 minute timeout.
They start like this community thing of, oh, you're putting me in timeout. And eventually you're just like, this is gonna get out of hand. I'm just gonna stop. It's one of those communities.
Okay. People just start green texting me?
Yeah. God, I'm just imagining this. You ever been on RuneScape? Like,
yes.
Yeah, like back in the day, whenever you go to the market square, it's just like a fuck ton of text everywhere. Like, I'm imagining some regions of the Grimson Conclave's information networks like that. It's just barrage of people talking. And like, even though like you were in like a more secluded section of it, you were just kind of like, then all of a sudden more people showed up and they're like, hey, you're talking about Karats? Essentially what happened. Anything about Ripjaw you said you wanted to look for?
I look within my own internal network and I just keep getting that classified.
Yeah, because Ripjaw is a really higher up guy that in the dossier it just says like what he did and like, and essentially it's like really brief. There's no like, this is who he is or whatever. Yeah. It just says like spotted, timestamp, location, and it has like a coordinate system to the crossroads and stuff. And then below that it says like current status or unknown / possible sighting, and then like below that was last seen, and then it has like a mug shot of him, and it looks like he was, and below that it says escaped. That was it. That's all that said.
Okay. Go down.
All right. So now that we're still doing this, and I just said that thing, and you stopped, and I kind of like Denton leaned back in his chair, and he's like, "It's a lot to do. Not gonna have a lot of time. Gowan's already night though."
That's it.
And then he kind of like looks at his watch, kind of like moves the dial to like check time zones, and he's like, "Yep, it's like 3 a.m. over there."
I think if we go now, it would be too suspicious. We'll go in the morning.
Our morning or their morning?
Their morning.
So in about 4 hours.
Get some shut eye.
No, it's just that
don't want to be too tired.
No, this is so exciting. Like,
that's one way to put it.
I knew we were starting a private investigating firm, but I didn't think we'd actually be investigating.
What?
No, I mean, I kind of knew it was in the name, but like, I didn't think I'd be the detective. I've always been on like security duty, and like.
Speaking of which, the security room should be set up for you at this point.
Oh yeah, that's what I was doing earlier. That's where I put the posters.
Put the posters into what?
I mean, there's no room for it. The place is small.
Oh, right. We'll.
And besides, we haven't been able to have Oliver send in more of our equipment. So basically, all we got is your guns. And he starts listing off like a couple of things he knows that are in there. So, and from the sounds of it, it's pitifully small.
I mean, the computers, they're set up for you.
No, I'm talking about like arsenal.
Oh yeah.
It's pitifully small.
Well,
it's like we have like 3 pistols, 1 assault rifle, and that's about it.
Well,
and like a flak jacket between the 2 of us.
The computers in there are set up. I've connected them to the camera system. It's not much, but it's a small office, and I'm sure it'll do. If there's anything you need,
oh, it's right. And Cassandra was saying that you're supposed to sign over some of that stuff.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But
hold on. I think we should both roll perception checks because we're at her desk. Let's start figuring out who Cassandra is. Oh, I think you're peeking the mic.
That's fine.
Just a complete wash with what? 3 threats?
4.
4 threats. Jesus. Oh man. Okay. Ooh. 1 success.
1 success.
And
that's it.
yeah,
Just 1 success.
1 success. Okay. Let's start with your threats.
So I'm going through the table, and at this point, I'm not using the wrist device. I actually have like a physical computer.
And we're not being snoopy. It's just sort of like we're at her desk. We notice a few things.
But like so, I have like this physical data pad that I'm like, doing stuff off of, and I leave that on the desk. Your character has a chance to look at it if he wants.
I probably would notice something on it.
Yeah. So you would notice that same icon of the eye. He seems to be having like this really long-winded conversation with them, and there's another symbol that shows up in that same conversation too, and it looks like an ellipse, like a really long narrow ellipse with 2 circular lines that cut inside of it,
like a basketball, like that.
Yeah, sort of, but
it's like crescents that face opposite directions.
Yeah,
okay.
And it extends like outside of it because the actual ellipse is really narrow.
Okay. I noticed that, but I'm just like, oh man, all these kids and their doodads and their iPads and the Android. And specifically in regards to Cassandra, I think those threats are you make an assumption about her that is false.
Okay.
Alright, so tell us what the assumption is. Because remember, both of us as DMs don't know who Cassandra is. And I think it'll be funny as shit if we don't explicitly say, and we just leave it a mystery until it becomes important to the plot.
Let's say that threats is a little odd.
Well, you can do like 1 false assumption per thing, or you can cash in a threat for something else.
I interpret all of like her financial stuff as just money laundering.
But that's a false assumption.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should record these things. Where's Cassandra's character sheet? Or little sheet thing. I think I gave it to you.
Do I have it?
I think I gave it to you. Let me double check my papers. Oh no, here she is.
Yep.
So
does not launder money, but I think she launders money.
She has. My character notices that she has a picture of a dog.
1 success is that she has a dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a little thing. I mean, this is just her shit that's at the table. It's not like we're digging through her computer.
So like
or
all these papers just look like money laundering to me, but it's all the shit that I've signed. It's like just all the shit for the actual business that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
And I just interpret it all as money laundering.
Anything else with those threats?
No, I think that's it.
I think I got a good one.
Okay.
Alright. So, you're not 100% sure, but just the way that the desk feels, it feels like this thing is plated. Like, as in bulletproof.
Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna use the rest of those threats on that.
Sure.
Your character assumes it's bulletproof, but it's
okay.
not.
But it's not. Okay.
That's good. That might be really, really bad later.
Sure. Okay.
If you ever get in a fight in our office, it might be bad. Okay. So our characters go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, sort of tuck her out for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Vessel. This podcast was recorded and edited by Albert and Alan and published by Blanket Turn. If you liked this episode, consider joining us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/blanketturn, on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific for our world-building stream. Music for this podcast included compositions Andreas' Theme, Chill Wave, Miami Viceroy, and Slow Jam by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. And remember, The eclipse is the phase of the viral life cycle during which a virus enters a cell to infect it.